Welcome to an episode of the Boom Breakdown. We got the UFC fights on tonight. Big card coming up. UFC Fight Night. Glendale. We got Porier versus Gaethje. Condit Oliveira. Adesanya, up and coming rising star, versus Vettori. Waterson Casey. That's the main card. I'm going to go through a couple of fights on the prelims, and we'll go from there. But starting off with the main event, Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje. This is a fight between two warriors. Justin Gaethje obviously wants to get in your face, throw bombs, heavy power shots, and land that heavy shot, whether it's a knee or a punch. But he's just an in-your-face type of fighter. He has the wrestling credentials, and he has history in this building where he's wrestled before and won a state championship. So that was all the way back in high school. I think we all can agree that you kind of lose memory with that. So it's really just a brand new experience for him, in my opinion. But the good thing is he's going to have the crowd behind him. But hopefully that's a good thing. I think he's fueled by stuff like that. So I think that'll be a good thing for him. But Dustin Poirier is the more well-rounded, smarter fighter. The thing is, though, is if you can lure Dustin into a brawl type of fight, he'll engage, and that's where he could be in trouble in this fight. I think if he engages in that pocket with Gaethje, he's going to get caught with something. We've seen Dustin Poirier rocked in other fights before with guys with maybe less power than Gaethje, so got to watch out for that. I believe the key to this fight is Dustin staying on the outside, staying smart, sticking and moving, and perhaps maybe catching some kind of submission in the exchanges if the fight ends up in a grappling exchange. He's definitely got the better submission skills on the ground. But I really don't see Justin Gaethje trying to land a takedown. Maybe he might threaten some takedowns, but definitely not going to look to land a takedown and end up on top, in my opinion. I think he'll just try to threaten it so that he can land his strikes a little bit better, getting closer with Poirier and get in that pocket. My ultimate decision, my pick would be Poirier by decision. I think it's just really hard to finish either one of these guys. If the fight was to get finished, I think it would be Justin Gaethje, but I don't think so. I think he's going to go the distance, and I think Dustin Poirier is going to outsmart him and fight a good technical fight and land the more significant strikes on the feet and perhaps win the grappling exchanges as well. So I go with Dustin Poirier by decision. Next up, we got Carlos Condit, Charles Oliveira. Not Charles Oliveira. The other Oliveira. The Cowboy Oliveira. My bad. This guy's scrappy, man. We saw his fight with Yancy Medeiros, and he's a warrior. He's non-stop action. He's obviously keeps it aggressive throughout the whole fight. And as of late, Condit's looked a little bit hesitant. I hope to see the old Condit back. The one where he has, the natural born killer. You can't have that nickname if you're not going to be that kind of guy. So hopefully we see that old Condit. And I think, if we do, it'll be a much different fight. But if it's the same Condit as of late, Oliveira seems to be really aggressive, really sharp in his latest fights. And he's a guy that's willing to come forward and put it on you and really drown you with a lot of pressure and a lot of high-paced action. So, in my opinion, I think it's hard to change. I think once you start to get older in the sport and you start to think a different way and you lose passion, it really is just a downhill slope from there. So, as much as I'd love to see Condit come back and be the old Condit, I don't see that happening. I see Oliveira being the young guy that wants it more. I don't even know if he's younger, but he fights like he's younger, and I think he's going to go for the finish, and it's really hard to finish Condit, but I think Oliveira will ultimately be the guy with octagon control, putting the pressure on, landing the more strikes, and coming out with the decision win as well. Next up, we got Adesanya versus Vettori. A lot of hype behind Adesanya. This guy's a up-and-coming rising star. A lot of people make comparisons to John Jones. I know he doesn't like that, but obviously the looks is why, and the style's a little bit different. But I like how he just wants to be his own man, and that's key in this sport. Be your own person, get creative, do things your own way. So I know Vettori's a tough guy, and I know he's got a lot of heart, and he's got a good, well-rounded skills. He's strong on the feet, he's strong in the grappling exchanges, but I think Adesanya is just another level above him, with creativity, with improvisation in the cage, a lot of tricks. He's very hard to figure out. He seems to be very, very mentally sharp in there. and know exactly how to control things in the cage. He doesn't really need to set a crazy high pace because he believes in everything he's doing. So he kind of lures you into his game. And I can see Adesanya getting the finish in this fight. In the last fight, he also showed really good takedown defense and scrambling skills. And I don't know if Vittoria will even try to take it down. He might just engage in the stand-up war. And when it comes to that, I think Adesanya is just a level up ahead. So I'm going to go with Adesanya by TKO. Next up, we got Waterson and Casey. Obviously, Waterson's coming down. Where's she going up? I don't know. I think she's going up a weight class, actually. I'm not too sure about that. Let's see here. Sorry, I'm a little confused about this. All right, so she's going down to 115. So Casey's obviously the bigger girl. I think she fought at 125. And she's coming down to 115 now. And she's had some ups and downs in the UFC. Not a crazy good record, 7-5. Michelle Waterson, a little bit more experience on her side with competition. And I think ultimately that's going to play a big role in this fight. I think Waterson's going to have a little bit more savviness in there, a little bit more well-rounded skills. If it hits the mat, I think she's got a little bit better jiu-jitsu and grappling exchanges. And she'll be able to stay on top and keep a dominant position if that happens. Striking, though, I would give it to Courtney Casey. I think she's a little bit sharper, a little bit more aggressive on the feet. And not afraid to come forward, push forward, but ultimately I see Waterson ending up on the ground, maybe get a throw or some kind of trip and end up on the ground and dominate position there. So I'm going to go with Michelle Waterson for decision. Going down to the prelims, not many crazy exciting fights. We got the Shoeface. That's my dad's favorite guy right there. Shoeface from Brazil. When I had my debut in Brazil, we met him. He's a really respectful, good guy. So I'd like to see him win, even though Bosch is a really tough opponent and a guy that's in there to finish fights. So that's a tough one right there. But Shoeface has some really, really high-level grappling skills, jiu-jitsu skills, good leg locks. And if the fight goes down there, you got to give it to Shoeface. Moving on to Wilson Hayes versus John Moraga. It's a big fight in the 125-pound division. Hayes obviously has fought for the world title and lost. I think Moraga's also lost to Demetrius. Both guys trying to rebound and get themselves back into title talks. And, Hayes is obviously a well-rounded guy. He's good everywhere. He's, really good jiu-jitsu, really good stand-up. He's a southpaw. I think Moraga obviously has a little bit more power on the feet, a little bit crisper punches and boxing. But if it goes to the ground, you got to give the advantage to Hayes. The thing is, Hayes has been engaging in a lot of stand-up fighting lately, but I think in this fight we'll see a little bit different of Wilson Hayes, probably going back to his roots, going back to some takedowns and wrestling, grappling, and try to get the submission in the fight. We've seen Moraga submitted before, but we've also seen him get submissions. He's got good guillotines. He's got good triangles. Not an easy guy to take down either. So ultimately, though, I see Wilson Hayes being able to grind him and push the pace on him, get him down to the ground, and either get a submission win or a decision win. I'll probably go with Hayes by decision. And so that's my quick picks for the UFC Fight Night, April 14th, Glendale. That's tonight, Porier versus Gaethje. I try to keep these short and sweet. I don't want to keep them too long. Once I start the podcast, boom time, we'll get a little bit more in detail about different things. But for now, boom. Cheers.